Hello there, and thank you so much for joining me today on Transforming Families. I am excited to have you on board. Only one request. Let's get to the end of this program because I believe it will impart you and educate you as well. My name is Faith Kaulu, and welcome to Transforming Families this evening. With me today, I have amazing guests, Reverend Edward Karanja, who is a minister with the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, as well as a marriage and family therapist. Karibu sana, Rev, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Faith, and for the welcome here at CAC TV in the Transforming Families program, together with my friend, the Professor Karim Gashoda. And like we always say to you viewers, you know, here and Transforming Families, it says stable families for a stable society. Sure. That's what we are for. Yeah. Thank you.
And at the very far end is Professor Catherine Gashuda, who is the director of the Kenya Institute of Business and Counseling Studies, as well as a counseling psychologist. Karibu sana, Prof, and thank you for making time to be here today.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Lev. Always excited about this program.
Sure.
And urging viewers, please tell others to be watching this program,
Yes.
Transforming Families.
Yes. Indeed, if you have a friend and you call them a friend and you haven't told them about Transforming Families, you are not a good friend, because this program is out here to transform families. So tell a friend to tell a friend who will tell a friend, and tune in to Transforming Families every Saturdays at 8 p.m. And it's always a pleasure to have you both, because, you know, we are raw, we are real, as real as it could be. And I really like that, because at the end of the day, if we are going to transform, if you're going to bring a change, then that needs someone or people who are real and say it as it is. And for me, that is you guys, and thank you so much. Today we want to talk about roles, responsibilities and duties. So much has been said about the male gender and the female gender, what they can do, what they can't do. And I'm grateful that we are at a point where women's rights is something that has been voiced, is something that has been accepted in the society. But still, when it gets to the house now, you are the two of you, there are things that a man says, hey, Mimi, I can't do that. Please, I am the man of the house. So get this plate out of the table. Don't expect me to do that. And that is what today I want us to talk about this, to help our viewers understand this better, as well as if people have been having conflict about this, to help them solve it at the end of the day. And I'd like us to start with just what I have mentioned about a role that a man can't do in the house, really. Is there such a thing? Allow us to start with Prof, then we'll come to you there.
Certainly, a man cannot get pregnant.
Sure. Yeah.
So the woman will do that. But regarding all other roles and responsibilities that are for nurturing other family members, or even for survival, the cooking, the making sure that things are bought for cooking, all those things a man can do. When it comes to roles and responsibilities that engender growth and productivity, a man will do. So apart from laws that are more biological, like giving birth, or even suckling a child, a newborn baby, all other roles can be divided and people can do them because we are coexisting together. Sometimes it gets difficult because of culture, because of orientation, because of what we saw happening. And so it becomes very difficult for someone to think, I can do a particular role, I can clean the dishes as a man. But you see, it is only because of the orientation. It's not because you can't do it, because the person has the hands. We say the only role that one cannot do is the one that is more biological. Because that one, you're not gifted by the fact that you don't have what it takes for you to carry out that role. But all other roles, every person should do.
Okay. Every person should do every other role. Is that a statement you agree with?
I agree on the biological part. That, there are those things that a man can do that a woman cannot do.
Yeah.
physically you'll find men majority, unless they have a physical disability. Men are physically stronger than women. So there are things I can lift, my wife cannot lift, because she's not as strong as I am. And then, you know, there are things like, you know, Prof has said that a man cannot carry a pregnancy. It is true. A woman cannot impregnate a man. So, so there are those roles that are God given, and they are supposed to, you know, to be as such. But then along the way, you also realize there is even the issue of, in every society, every institution, you have the ranks, you have the chains of command along the way in any institution. And biblically, there are also chains of commands in the family. So the man is the head of the family, as Christ is the head of the church. That is a role that is for men. But I always say, in the event the man doesn't sit on that seat, automatically somebody else will sit on that seat. No seat remains vacant. Even in an institution, if the director becomes incapacitated, somebody else takes over the directorship. If the president of the nation becomes incapacitated, somebody else takes over that position. It's the same thing in a home. You know, in terms of order, there is who is in charge, who is, and you know, all that is there in the family. When it comes to even other roles besides the, you know, the biological roles, I also think there are those roles that are manly roles, and there are those that are for the woman, unless something else, you know, dictates otherwise. For example, personally, I don't expect myself to be going through the kitchen to know whether the tomatoes, the groceries are there. Kama zimeisha maziko. Do we have enough kitungu in the store? Do we have enough maziwa? Do we have enough whatever in there? I automatically expect that to be the role of my wife, because she interacts more with the house girl, the house help, as opposed to the way the much I do. But if she's not around, then I'll take over that role and I will do it, so it's not cast in iron. There are also roles, you know, the same roles even in terms of like, there are things, if we were renting the house, I would expect me being the man, I'm the one who is dealing with the landlord, unless otherwise dictated by the circumstances. If we have a construction going on, you know, in our home, and there are fundis around there, I expect man kupanda juu ya mjengo kuangalia kama koroga imewekwa vizuri, chuma imetandikwa vizuri. I would expect me as the man to be the one to be dealing with that. Again, unless I'm unable, and then my wife is the one who can be able to do that. So that's how I look at it in terms of the roles. But those roles are not cast in iron. But for the sake of the smooth running of a home, we will need to have some of those roles like agreed upon. Here, who buys the groceries in the house? Who pays the school fees? So that we don't get to a place where we sit back and I'm expecting my wife to pay the school fees and she's expecting me to pay the school fees. Finally, shule inafunguliwa na shule haijalipwa. Yes.
Okay. I was part of a group of young people who are having a discussion on different roles and responsibilities in a home. And a guy said, you know, when you're done eating, as a man, you do not take the dish to the kitchen. You cannot, in fact, because if you do, then you have lost your position as a man of the house. You know, but sitting back and allowing your wife to take that dish to the kitchen is stamping your leadership in the family. And of course, there was a lot of debate, because then many would say that taking the dish to the kitchen is something very simple that then does not define you or define your role as a man in the house, you know. So I'd like us to talk about, does the roles and responsibilities in the home define who you are as a person? Can you say, since you're a man who at some times cook for your wife, you have lost your masculinity?
Right. I think misconceptions, and again, the stereotypes that happen within communities and societies make people to believe certain things that can hurt and injure a family, because there is no doormat in the family, someone to be stepped upon and someone to be carrying all the burdens. There should be fairness in the division of roles and responsibilities. And I want to support what Lefred has said regarding there are some laws that are more masculine and some laws that are more feminine.
Yeah.
Like a man is physically built than a woman is. So when it comes to lifting things, he will do well in that.
Yes.
And a woman is going to do well in nurturing children, small children, on a day-to-day basis without getting tired, because it's more of who she is. Because women are more emotional, women are more relationship connected, and therefore when they are nurturing, that is more of them. Now, when it comes to a young man who is saying what he's saying, that he cannot take the dishes to the kitchen after eating, there is a sense of not knowing that is there. There is a sense of not being objective that is applying to the situation, because yes, she can take because she's the one who has cooked, but she wouldn't mind being assisted in terms of being complementary with each other, in terms of being fair to each other. She wouldn't mind being assisted. She is the one in charge of the department of cooking and hospitality.
Yeah.
That may be her main duty, but that does not mean that she does all the things that go with the hospitality department within the home.
Yeah.
She needs assistance from others. If this man is the only person who is there to assist, maybe they don't have a domestic worker, then he has to do it. But he cannot say that, and yet there is no one else who is there to do the work.
Yeah.
Say like if she can be sick, she is incapacitated. So what happens? Are people not going to eat in this house, or the house is not going to be cleaned, or the dishes will never be taken to the kitchen or even cleaned?
Yeah.
It is not realistic in a situation of a home. So we would want to educate young people in regard to whenever you want to make your wife a slave or a donkey, you're not going to go very far in your marriage, because there is no fairness. So if you are saying you're not taking the dishes, what are you doing? And do you understand that there are times when you are called upon to take those dishes because she is not able to? Or are you saying because she's the one in charge of that, and you're the one who is in charge of security, and you're closing the doors, and you're making sure that the padlocks have been bought and everything, and you're cutting the fence, and you're doing those other things that are more manly in nature? You're checking her vehicle if she has a vehicle, to make sure that there is water in that vehicle, or it is oiled very well and it has been cleaned. Are you saying you're not going to do this because you do this? And also, when you're saying I can't do this, are you saying it in arrogance? Are you saying it in stubbornness? Marriages do not entertain stubbornness. They do not entertain arrogance and lack of objectivity, because then you're not facing the realities within a marriage, within a family.
Wow, thank you for being so profound.
Thank you, Prof. What happens, Faith, is that immediately you attack someone, they immediately pull up a defense. Immediately you push someone to a corner. What happens is they look for a place to support them quickly. If I am walking casually, nicely, I have no reason to be tensed na kutafuta vile nitasimama vizuri. But immediately I am pushed, automatically I find the defenses of wanting to stand firm. If we serve one another in a family, like the Prof is putting it, I could be cutting the hedge, I could be doing all those kinds of things. As I cut the hedge, my wife may feel she wants to come and ask me, do you need some water? Because it's an easy, nice thing. That does not mean that it is her role as I cut the hedge to bring me water. but she's looking for an opportunity to serve me. Because in a relationship, you look for opportunities to serve one another, not to be served. Anytime you look for the opportunity to be served, you don't appreciate when you're served. When you look for the opportunity to serve, you really appreciate when you are served.
Yeah.
Because you're not waiting for it. You are doing what you ought to do. So if I'm in the house, and that's practical even where I live in my house, and I have finished with the food, and I'm the one rising up, I don't rise up and leave the plate there so that my wife picks it. I rise up with my plate and take it to the kitchen where it's supposed to be. If my wife rises up, she rises up with her plate. So there's no rule like who should take the plate, who should not take the plate. If you're lying on the couch and you're both watching probably a certain movie, and you sit there and you feel like drinking water, and the other person is on the couch,
Yeah.
why do I have to tell my wife, you wake up, go get me some water? It is me who needs the water.
Yeah.
So I rise up, go get water. If my wife is the one who needs water, and that happens a lot, she'll tell me, hi, I am going for the water, do you need some?
Yeah.
So the reason why she's bringing me the water is not because I ordered her to go bring me water, it's because she was going for her, so she's also coming in mine. I'm the guy who loves coffee. My wife hardly takes coffee. So if we are seated there and I need coffee, I'll rise up, I'm like, I want to fix some coffee, do you need some? So if she needs coffee, in beauty with coffee is black, so it's easy, just boil the water and
Yeah.
she'll be like, yes, bring me a cup of coffee. Her, she loves tea. And most of the time when we take it in the evening, she'll do it black. I will also do it black. Na hiyo ni rahisi kuchemsha maji nimwekee tea bag. Sasa hiyo inanisumbua aje.
Yeah.
How does that reduce me from being a man?
A man.
Anytime you think by kuchukua sahani has reduced you from being a man to being a woman, then it means you have identity issues.
Okay.
Indeed.
You have identity issues. Because you think what gives me identity is ordering people around. Identity issues. It's just like the way if what gives you identity is the kind of the car you drive, and you get to a function, na wambiwe magari zote zinapakiwa na kule chini watu watembee.
Yeah.
Inakuuma. Unasumbuana na wenye wanapakisha magari. Hapana, wacha sijui yangu nitaitafutia nafasi hapo, because you are like, how do I get there without people knowing the kind of the car I am driving? Why? Because the car you drive is what gives you identity. But if you are beyond there and you have no identity issues, you will be shown where to park the car. You'll park the car there comfortably, walk out of the car, go to the function. Because what gives you identity is you, not the car. So if what gives you identity ni kusikia wewe kuja hapa, wewe niletee maji, if that's what makes you a man, then you have an issue.
Yeah.
You know, you have identity issues. And probably you need to go for some therapy for self-awareness, so that you can know who really you are,
Yeah.
so that you can get into self-awareness. Yes, that will be my take on this.
All right. And most men who do such things then wanaambiwa, you know, umekaliwa. Your wife has taken charge over your family, because then now you're doing wifely duties, what they term it as that.
Incidentally, when you are yelling around the house, that's the moment umekaliwa. If you are ordering people around, nilete, or you walk into the house and you know, you like your water here, imeletwa haraka. You like your food here, umeletwa chakula hapo. You like viatu tolewa, umetolewa. You know, people are not taking, hawakutoi socks out of love. It is duty, ni duty ya nani kutoa socks, alafu unaachwa hapo sitting room na chakula yako na maji yako na thermos ya chai kama unakunywanga chai, na unaachiwa mpaka maji hapo na chakula. And you know, maybe your wife takes off with the children, they go to the TV room. Then when you are done, unaita, hey, nani nani hako huko? Nani hako? Chukueni hizi vitu. So they emerge quickly, come pick the stuff, and they go back.
Yeah.
If there is a moment you are properly controlled, it is that moment. Because what your wife, probably the children, are thinking over there, they are alone, they are planning very well on taking charge of you. But the moment you are loving, you're caring, you get to understand and know what your family is going through. That's the moment you're in charge. But the moment you are left alone, they know what you want. you don't know what they want. So nani anajua nani? Nani amekalia nani? Wewe ndio umekaliwa because they know what you want, they know how you think, they even know your next move. Unaingia tu hivyo wamekusoma. Hiyo design ameingia naye ni fujo. So they control you on that. But you yourself, you do not know them. So you can't be able to manage that situation. So hiyo mambo ya kudanganyana ati umekaliwa na bibi ana control, and you think that you're gonna like order people around you utakaliana, you are the loser completely. Because your wife is no longer your friend. You cannot enjoy a relationship with them. You cannot enjoy talking with them freely because it's all taking an order. It's like your boss at the workplace.
Yes.
Kuja unakuja, enda unete maji unaenda, unifanyie unaenda. So you have no relationship. So you don't have a wife in the house as such.
Wow.
Yes.
In any case,
Yes.
why would she sit on you? What happens in intimacy? You will do all those things. You will sit on each other and all that.
Okay.
And I think it's a misconception again that when you are sat on, it is because you're doing some responsibilities. Because then, for people who are suffering the low self-esteem that Lefred was talking about, they will feel, yes, I am being sat on, I am not regarded, I am not respected. And therefore, their respect is going to be measured against something that is not real. It is only real in their own minds. That means that this individual will need to work on themselves, because you cannot perform the role of leadership when you're controlling other people, domineering on other people, shouting on other people. There will come a time they are going to rebel against you. And there is nothing as bad as when a family decides, we will rebel against you like you have never seen. And then you realize, I am alone. I don't have anyone with me, because you decided that you're more important than anyone else in the house. Rather than seeing yourself as the leader of that house and the leader who is considerate on the others who are looking up to you, then what you're going to do is to lose it all. So I think that when people say within societies and communities that you're being sat on, that in essence is a stereotype that needs to be dealt with. And the individuals who are taking on board that and believing that, they need to work on themselves.
Right.
It's a misconception. Like Prof says, what is kukaliwa? It's a complete misconception, misinformation, and it means there is a fear within you that you need to deal with. That's not saying you need self-awareness, because there's a fear inside you, and that fear needs to be dealt with. Probably along the journey of life, you got fixated in a certain stage, and so you need to be assisted, and yet maybe probably you do not know that you have a challenge. That's what be afraid. Like the one we were discussing the other week about the issue of the accounts. I am already saving some money to hide somewhere because of the day when I'll be out of this place. So this fear that nimekaliwa, why have you come with that fear? What is the kukaliwa? You are sitting on your couch, I'm sitting on my side, so what makes you think umekaliwa? So there is a fear that there's a fear that is inside you that needs to be dealt with.
And with that said, let's take a very short break. Do not move a muscle. We'll be right back.
The moderator of the 23rd General Assembly, Right Reverend Patrick Thegumtahi, together with the congregation and fraternity of PCEA Zimmerman Parish, led by Reverend Peter Gitau Kamau, the parish minister, invite you for live services on Sunday 31st of October 2021. The service, which will involve PCMF commissioning, will reflect on the theme 1 Timothy 6:6, godliness with contentment. In the afternoon, join us for an exciting session of Youth Tuko program live from CAC TV studios, hosted by Reverend Anton Miringo, the Director PCA Youth Department. Tune in to CAC TV on Signet, CAC TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube to fellowship with us.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for keeping it right here. Today we are talking about defining gender roles, duties and responsibilities in the family. And something that was mentioned earlier is that yes, in some families it has worked. You sit down as a couple and decide, you know, I'm going to take care of the house, I'll pay the domestic workers, and you'll buy the groceries and do this and this, and it works out. But then there are those roles and responsibilities that are not really put down on paper or not agreed on. For example, you could walk in and find that the child has left toys all over. I mean, it's okay to pick them up, whether you are the husband or the wife. And even as we are talking about doing anything in the house, really, because you are there to help each other, let's talk about when it gets toxic, how to realize that, you know, I'm now in a toxic situation. These are not just duties or responsibilities I'm supposed to take, but this is too much. This is not right. You know, how then to realize that, especially for women, because growing up, all we are taught is how to take care of a family, how to take care of your husband, how to do this and that, to an extent where most of us don't realize that, okay, wait, this is now overboard, you know. So then how to point that out?
People realize that you're doing much more than your partner is doing. You're paying the school fees, you're the one who is buying the groceries. He's working, he has a salary. It's not like he doesn't have. You're the one who is cleaning the house. Even for maternity, you go to maternity, he doesn't come for you.
Yeah.
You're the one to call for a cab so that it can come for you and take you home. So you realize, I am neglected, I am abandoned. The other party, my spouse, has not taken up responsibility of being actively engaged in making things happen between the two of us and even in our family. And I also don't feel loved and cared for, because the responsibility of the man in this case is to be affectionate. Is he communicating that affection and love to the wife? And for the wife, are you communicating respect? Because when we talk about loss and responsibilities, we also have to see those things that are not tangible, plus those that are tangible and physical, and they have to be done.
Yeah.
So one can feel heavy laden with a lot of tasks. The Bible talks about a woman being a helper, and the man is the one to figure out, how do these things happen within my family? For one who is taking up leadership very well, will bring the family to the table and say, when it comes to loss and responsibilities, we need to fix some toxicity that is creeping into our relationship or creeping into our family. Certainly, if a particular spouse feels that they cannot do certain loss and responsibilities, and they cannot share, and they cannot be complementary to their spouse, that now gets toxic, because it's like you married yourself. It's like you are a single parent in your family. If this man is the one who is visiting the children in school, and mama says, no, that is your responsibility. So he becomes the person who runs to the shop to buy sugar so that tea can be cooked. Then you realize there is something that is not okay here. and things need to be addressed in this relationship. And because they started together at the same level, they can invoke that
Yeah.
and ask themselves, what do we need to do so that we can correct the situation? But yes, when one spouse feels that I am the one who is doing all the things and my spouse is not taking up responsibilities and assisting me, and is not there for me even when I'm needy, he's not coming or she's not coming to help in dealing with some of these laws and responsibilities, then you know it's not correct, it's not light, it is not fair, it is not progressive, it's not growth producing. We are not getting anywhere as a couple. I talked about those laws again that are not tangible, like when one needs to communicate affection and the other person needs to communicate support. If it is a wife, the man is investing or they're investing together, is there support or you're always critical? Even critical over things that are supposed to be growing you as a family. If it is a house that is being put up, you're complaining dowry has never been taken to your place. But you see, you can say, we complete this house, or even we do it to a particular level, but please remember, my parents still need to feel that you are appreciated, that they give you a girl to be your wife. So, toxicity is very visible in families and homes. It can be seen by neighbors, can be seen by family members, extended family, and even the person who is being heavily laden with all the responsibilities will see it.
Wow.
I would want to add a little bit that when we talk about the roles, and where you say like you walk into the house, the toys are all over, should someone help in picking the toys, or is my wife to just stand there and shout orders and say, why haven't these toys been collected? Why haven't you guys done this? Why haven't you know? Or can I be able to pick the toys and assist? And sometimes where we start going wrong sometimes in family is where you fail to understand who your spouse is, who you are yourself. When you have a domestic worker and you have your wife and even maybe a relative in the house, and I walk in as a man and I am quarreling my wife and everybody else around there. Mimi nasemanga huku moto hivi na hamtoangi. So the question is, ni kina nani ninaambia? Does it mean my wife, domestic worker, the relative or a friend who is staying in that house are all in one basket, so I am lecturing them together? So who is it that I'm addressing? Do I get to know there's a spouse here? Can I, put those toys where I need them to be and then probably address it with my wife quietly on the side and then get to know what happens here? And that's what I'm saying, in a home there are roles for a particular spouse. Because when this, for example, it comes to dealing with a domestic worker, it's not my duty, for example, for me in my house. If I think the domestic worker is not doing things right, maybe the cleaning that is being done in the house is not good, it's not mine to pick the domestic worker and take her around saying, hapa ukuosha vizuri, ile kitu kupanguza vizuri. I don't think that is my space. It is my wife's space, whereby I need to talk to my wife so that she can probably point those areas out, not me directly. And so the issue of the African culture. And I like what the Prof has said. Maybe you are doing a project and the role of this one spouse is to support in that project. But then you see, I am putting up or buying land, I'm in the process of paying, and my wife is busy saying, you haven't paid the dowry. You haven't and you see, at that moment as a man, I'm wondering, if I get this money and pay the dowry, of what help is the dowry to us as a couple here? But you're so much interested, you really feel all we want is, for example, if Prof is your mommy, all you're interested is your mommy to be given tanki ya maji. And your husband is wondering, Sasa tangi ya maji tumepelekea mam, how itasaidiaje na hii shamba itapanda bei and all those kinds of stuff, eh? So there's the issue of the culture, because one time I really had a problem with that issue. And I knew it was somewhere whereby the lady would not even allow the husband to make love to her. The reason being, he only went the first time and took some little a certain amount of money kidogo sana akapeleka. So anytime this guy wants to make love, the girl will always say like, ile 3,000 ulipeleka kwa bibi inafanyanga unisumbue usiku mzima. So and the guy is wondering, kwani ni huwa ninalipa? You know, is it like it is like it's being quantified here how much I'm paying? And you see, to us men, going to pay, you know, back to home to pay that dowry may not be really a priority. The priority is in investing. So it's good to realize, when do we need that our role here is to support the spouse. It may even be the wife doing the studies. She's in school. You're paying money here. And the guy is wondering, do I need to pay for her masters?
Yeah.
What value is the masters adding to this family? The masters, we're going to pay almost, if I have almost $1 million. Iyo million together kwa money market, you get this amount of money. And you know, men, sometimes we think financial so much.
Yeah.
And along the way, you may miss the support that the spouse is looking forward to. So the issue of who does what in the house may be different, because it may not even be collecting the toys, back to what you're saying.
Yeah.
It may be me calling upon the baby, if I'm the one who has come, and like, hey, dad, mommy, you know, whatever the name of the baby is. Nowadays we call kids Jabali, Geniali. You know, there are those very fancy names. Not like my time when it was Catherine, Edward, Faye. You know, nowadays names are out of this world. Maybe call the baby and say, you know what, Jabali, next time when you use your toys, you know, take them back when they're supposed to be. So it's not just laying orders here. So I'm simply saying, in main words, there are roles, but those roles are not cast in iron.
All right.
Yes, they are complementary roles. Yes.
Wow. As much as we're talking about this and speaking about how definite they should be, how you should talk about it as a couple, how it is not cast on stone. Here's a couple who they've defined, you know, I do this, you take care of that. I do this, you take care of that. But then one fails and doesn't do what has been agreed on severally, could be. How then should that issue be addressed? Because definitely that now becomes an issue that will cause tension and conflict in the relationship.
It happens, Faith, that you can agree, pay school fees for the children or pay rent, and someone is not doing it because someone is extravagant and would want to go drinking. And so there is no money for paying the school fees or whatever other activity was supposed to be taken care of. And it makes the other party to be very frustrated. We know as therapists and counselors and psychologists, there are those marriages you can try to save and you can't. Because this particular spouse has not cultivated discipline for marriage. Because any person entering into a marriage relationship needs to know that discipline is a number one, or it's one of the principles or the behaviors that one needs to have when they get into marriage. Because you see, it is a contractual relationship where you are supporting each other and helping each other to be able to do life and to support the children to grow in ways that are going to make them children who know themselves and who are able to fit within a society. If one fails on their role, and sometimes they can fail dismally, that this is a person who does not pick their roles completely, that is a marriage on the rocks. If he's not going to change or she's not going to change so that she can be disciplined and follow through. Because when you're friends, whatever you agree upon, then each person needs to make sure you're doing your part of the deal. If there is one person who is not doing their part of the deal, that means the other party will have to take up all those responsibilities and do them. What does it feel when you're the one who is doing all the things that needed to be done by the other party, you feel let down, you feel frustrated, you feel distressed. If these people are not going to say, let's go and see a therapist who is going to help us to be able to look at it again, or I have come to a point where I'm realizing I'm punishing you within our marriage and I need to change so that I can be able to be a team player within our marriage relationship. If the party who is not doing their role is not going to wake up and say, I want to do it and I want to change, this is a marriage on the rocks.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, it has been said very well. If you are doing all the roles, and I'm a man and I know this, and the other person is not lifting a muscle, you get frustrated, you become bitter, you become upset, and before you know it, it might start showing in your reactions. You may easily find yourself overreacting because you're feeling like, I'm here, I'm doing everything, I'm paying school fees, I'm paying them everything, but the other person is not doing anything and they're not showing any effort, they're not lifting even any muscle. You start getting very frustrated. Worse, if the person does not appreciate what you are doing, or you feel that it is not being appreciated, one takes like it's your duty. After all, who do you expect to do all those things?
Yeah.
You start feeling like you're frustrated. And that's why I said it is important for one to try and do something.
Okay.
No matter how small it is, try to do something. Even if you're not earning, if you're the wife and you're not even really bringing any salary into the house, there are other things one brings. You may not need to bring money, but you can bring duty. You know, you can work with your hands, you can appreciate them, you can even organize the family. Until the other person who has gone to work coming home, find the home is well organized, it's a good place to be in. It's important for us that to happen. If you have been doing something, then along the way, your duty maybe was to only pay tokens for electricity, or buy gas, or pay electricity, or whatever. Then you lose the job, or your business goes down. It is good to discuss it.
Okay.
I'll share a personal one here. Started a business for my wife, and started picking, and my wife decides, I'll pick up this and this in the house to be doing. In a year's time, the business went down. Flat. I mean, since I was in the picture of what was happening in the business, even as it went down, I could see and tell the business is going down. Taking up the roles she had was not a problem. Even starting to give a monthly allowance, not outside whatever you're doing, like every month you give some allowance, because like we had said the other week, who wants to keep on begging? Nataka pesa ya nywele, nataka pesa ya makucha.
Yes.
So you decide there will be a monthly allowance of this amount of money. So whatever you want to do with the money, it's your business. You want to save it, you want to spend it, it's your business. So as that went down, since I was in the picture of what was happening, it was never painful. It was very easy to pick up the roles and run with them. But if there are no discussions, like you said, you are doing this, then you have stopped. The other party starts feeling bad. But if there are discussions, you will be able to imeanguka na nalipa kila kitu na niko sawa, because we have been in communication.
Yeah.
So again, I would say the roles would be there, but not cast in iron. Last example, I could even talk about groceries. In my house, my wife does the groceries. Nyanya, hizo vitu. I travel more by nature of my work. Nitajikuta Meru, niko Nyeri, niko wapi. Nitakuta tomato njiani, inauzwa bei rahisi, kwa sababu niko Mwea. I will not say, mimi sinunuangi nyanya kwangu ni ya mke wangu, isi juzi, nimeenda Nyahururu. Viazi is bei rahisi there. I will not say, groceries is my wife's business. I'll stop there. Even call. Kuna viazi vinauzwa huku, nilete viazi na nyanya na nini, I'll come with them. As long as when I bring them home, usiniulize ninunua pesa ngapi. Because nikisema niliuziwa 500 ndoo ya viazi, nitaamua niligongwa.
Yeah.
So kwa sababu sitaki kuamua niligongwa.
Tukule viazi.
Tukule viazi, si imefika?
Yeah.
Tukule viazi. So that's what I'm saying, the roles should not be cast in iron.
Alright.
And we should be flexible, roll whichever way. If your business rises, then you can pick over something else as well. Yes.
All right. What would you say for sure about roles and and responsibilities as well as duties in a marriage setup and a family setup? What would you say you know for sure that helps brings the family together?
What helps a lot is to each party is ready to do something, whatever it is. And therefore, people are responsive when it comes to laws and responsibilities. Man and wife, they are responsive. And whatever roles and responsibilities that have to be done, they are picking up on them. What else works is when people talk about it. They talk about it, they say, I think you need to help me in doing this. I'm feeling it is coming in my way when I'm going to work. And because you are working at home, please take up this for me. When people talk about it, and also when they are talking about it, because what I see a lot is even as you're requesting or you are discussing about laws and responsibilities, what is your language? Or what language do you use? Do you use a language that makes the other person feel the way she's telling me is like a headmistress who is talking to me, or like she's my mother. She's shouting at me, I can't take it. Because sometimes the reason as to why those duties are not taken up or responsibilities are not taken up is because of our words and attitude. Someone can say, I'm not going to do it. If you're going to be saying that about the fiancé, if you're going to be asking me and criticizing me and judging me because of how much I bought, sitanunua tena. So communication needs to be such that we are not judging, we are sensitive, we are respecting the other party, and that is going to make the other person feel, yes, I am respected, I can continue doing what I need to. We talked about acts of service, but we also talked about words of affirmation. Words of affirmation cure. They are like fuel in a vehicle. They make one keep going and not stopping. So when someone understands and appreciates that words of affirmation, where I mean business in what I'm saying, will help my spouse to believe in himself much more, make him feel that he is of value, he is of worth, she is of worth, then you can use that to build your spouse. Because laws and responsibilities and what we say about them should not be about demolishing each other, but it should be about building each other.
Amen.
Perfect.
Awesome. I mean, I will just add a little bit there and say one of the key things is that never take each other for granted. Never ever. If one is paying school fees, if one is washing just the dishes or just making a meal, never take each other for granted. Appreciate the little the person does or the much the person does. Please appreciate. Never take each other for granted. If you take each other for granted, that's one of the things that will completely destroy even the relationship. So in those responsibilities in the house, is it the car one has washed? Is it the cobweb ametoa kwa nyumba? You know, like one day the husband has come with meat in the house. You have come, the wife has prepared a good meal. Please do not take each other for granted. Appreciate the little things done. The second thing, lift a muscle. Don't just be a lazy duck around the house. Lift a muscle. Don't be a husband who earns the money and goes drinking all the money and you're not even doing anything. The lady will feel stressed. Ninalipa nyumba, ninafanya hii, because the fella is not lifting any muscle around. Lift a muscle. Don't be a lady who just sits in the house. The husband goes to work. House girl anampatia chakula, house girl anaosha nguo, house girl anapiga pasi. You are just lying there like a queen on the couch in the house. You know what I'm saying? Lift some muscle. You know, don't just lay there. And then, of course, finally, remember always to commit your family to God in prayer. A family that prays together stays together.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you all for today. I hope to dear viewer that you have learned 2 or 3 things and that you are going to share this video so that a lot of people can come across it and get their lives and families changed and transformed. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's keep in touch. Talk to us on our Facebook page, CAC TV Kenya, and let us know what you'd like us to handle, and definitely we will bring it on board. My name is Faith Kaulu. Till next time, keep watching CAC TV. Goodbye. Thank you.